and welcome to the Talkin Kop. We're here to actually speak about a good game from Liverpool. Liverpool absolutely cruising through over Qarabag to get into the third place of the Champions League, right ahead of Spurs in fourth, which is not a sentence I thought I'd be saying today. Chris, immediate reactions to that kind of blockbuster goal fest, and also to our progression directly through past the knockouts in the Champions League.
To be honest, it's just nice to watch Liverpool go into a game where you're thinking this should be a routine win. We should make this quite easy, and they did. There was a couple of little things that could be better, but in general, look, you're playing a minnow. You beat them 6-0. Could easily, I think, if Liverpool were in a bit more form, have broken our Champions League record, goal scoring record. So, all in all, it's probably a 9 out of 10 night. The only downside is the injury to Paul Frimpong. That's the only negative, which we will come to. But as a performance, look, you could have beat what's in front of you, and quite frankly, we did. We did it pretty comfortably, and we did the thing that we very rarely do. An hour to go, 20 minutes to go, we started taking off key players, Wirtz, Ekitike, Szoboszlai, and gave some kids minutes. And the biggest cheer of all was, guess what? Nalo played for Liverpool and didn't get sent off. Quite frankly, was the only thing I was nervous about for the last 20 minutes. I was thinking, please let this lad not get sent off, because it was just becoming a meme. And I kind of felt like it was true. Chris is too busy picking an IT case on Twitter. I mean, I do that as well. I've had some fun in January with ITKs. I must admit.
Chris loves going after ITKs. That's his pastime.
It's very funny.
Well, Kev, I'm going to ask you the same question. Yeah. Look, that was a pretty blockbuster scoreline. That's the first time that we've scored 6 in the Champions League since 2022. That was the 7-1 against Rangers. Ultimately a very convincing performance against, a team that I would say is comfortably below us in terms of quality, without meaning any disrespect at all. But what's your reaction? Mostly to just getting through in general, but also to the game.
Look, that's what I expected. I expected us to beat them, and I expected us to beat them handy. I thought the lineup was too strong. I didn't think it needed to be as strong as it was. And that's the reason why in the preview I went with the amount of changes that I went with, because I looked at them and I thought, look, they had 2 players valued at over £1 million. And if you were looking at that and then comparing it to a Championship / League One side, the values of the players were in and around the same. So I think we were professional. We kept going. We weren't as clinical as we could have been, but created plenty of chances. Some of the set piece stuff I was really happy with.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, there was a lot of
thunder, Kev. Don't steal our thunder.
There was a lot of positives, and as Chris rightly points out, the only negative was Jeremy Frimpong pulling up with looks like a groin strain. Really unfortunate for him. Did the best thing, did the right thing. Felt it, went down. Didn't. And listen, credit to Zubir, the Qarabag left winger, because Frimpong was down. He was through. You're away at Anfield. It's 3 minutes gone. And he turned around and he kicked it straight out of play. Absolute massive credit, great sportsmanship, and
because let's be honest, Kev, if that was roles reversed, we'd be calling our winger also. It's
going later on in the game. One of their players went down after going up for a header with Van Dijk and caught an elbow in the chin, and we played on for about 5 seconds, and then McAllister got hold of the ball and hoofed it out. So, in fairness, we did play on. And it wasn't until McAllister realised what was going on and he just kicked the ball out of play. So, yeah, I mean, and it's something that we do regularly. We play to the referee's whistle. It's up to the referee to stop the game. And in fairness, it was a head injury, that one, and the referee should have stopped it. But, yeah, Jeremy Frimpong going down with a groin strain is really unfortunate. Puts us in a really difficult spot. But all in all, as a performance on the night, brilliant. Delighted for Endo. Really happy with him. I would have started him genuinely. I would have started him in the 6. I would have started Gravenberch in centre back. But yeah, all in all, happy. Some good goals as well. Some really good goals.
Yeah, we'll fly through the goals. I mean, Chris, before we do, I just want to get your reaction to the Frimpong injury, which takes us now down to, I think, let's see, we've got Robertson, Kirkes, and Virgil van Dijk as our 3 fit, out-and-out defensive-minded players. Yes, we have players that can fill in there. We have a Gravenberch, we have an Endo, but I think that this might be the point of no return in terms of just sheer numbers. I don't know. I mean, what was your reaction to that really, really unfortunate injury to Frimpong?
The hope is, because he went down straight away, is he's felt it and it's a strain.
I mean, he looked like he was in a lot of pain.
Which is, because if it's a tear, that could be months. My initial reaction was, good job Richard Hughes and the club think we've got loads of depth and shit's fine. I was fuming. I'm not fuming with Frimpong, because again, he's just come back from a hamstring injury, and he's gone back to back to back to back to back. What happened? He pulled up. Guess what? Who knew that was going to happen? Fucking everyone. You know, everyone knew that if you're going to go with 14 players and manage not to use certain players, you are putting strain on players and you're going to ask for injuries. Now, look, Konate should be back for the weekend, but you're going into the weekend with 2 fit centre-backs, 2 fit left-backs. So unless you're going to play Robertson right-back, which I've said half jokingly, but
do we have 2 fit centre-backs right now?
No, well, Konate's not injured.
No, I know, but he's not playing right now. We don't know if he's going to be back this weekend.
Well, according to what I was listening to on my comms, they were saying the expectation is he's back this weekend. So if you work on that basis, because he's not injured, we have 2 fit centre-backs and 2 fit left-backs. So it's going to have to be an Endo, a Robber, or Jones at right-back, assuming Jones is over his illness. But I'm at the point going, it's not the wildest thing now to say, stick Robbo at right-back. I know he's left-footed, but guess what? He's a full-back. At least he knows position, because he's not going to play Calvin Ramsey. Or there is a novel idea. It's a real novel idea. Richard Hughes, do your fucking job. Go and get some players in. Because guess what? That's what you're paid to do. You're paid to look at the medium and long term. But the short-term issues are so bad, which injury-wise we are now, in terms of missing numbers, that will knack your long-term and medium-term plans. So guess what? Pull your finger out. And honestly, if they don't do anything, which I don't think they will, I fuck all sympathy for the club that if we miss out on stuff and they go, oh, it's because these players are injured, you fucking knew what you were left with. You've known this since 1st of September. We were short. So I've sympathy for the player. I have very little sympathy for the club or the management. Because kind of feel you've created your own problems. So what's the saying? You've made your bed, lie in it. I mean, it's no sympathy for them.
It's quite unfortunate that it comes on the back of Slot kind of going, I'm not going to say going off in a press conference, but talking extensively about players being in the red zone, talking about, perhaps overplaying players when medical staff perhaps advises against it. He said that he uses his eyes, he talks to his players, but there are some players that are left on longer than medically advised. And for this to kind of come off the back of that, it's not a great look. But that's enough of the negativity, because honestly, it's
we'll save that for the rant show.
Well, we'll save it for the rant show, but I also just feel like we've had so many negative post-match shows and things like that I want to focus on the positive just a little bit here. So let's go right in on 14 minutes. There's a Liverpool corner, and Szoboszlai delivers. Ekitike tries to get a touch. Virgil van Dijk does. And then McAllister, the shortest man on the pitch, decides to get the ball over the line in a goal at a corner for a set piece. What in the world is happening, Kev? Lewis Mahoney is doing his job.
It's the Champions League.
Yes,
we score corners in the Champions League. And the honest to God thing is, look at the difference in the physicality of the two sides. And it's not a surprise when you see how physical the Premier League clubs are. And you look at the Champions League table tonight. It's no surprise that European clubs struggle to deal with the physicality of players from the Premier League. And nothing shows that off more than set pieces. So the delivery was really good. And it was a common thread in the deliveries that Szoboszlai took from that side of the pitch. He tried to target the near post more often than not. For Hugo to get across, that was the plan. Hugo to get across, get the flick, and see what happens in behind. I think if Hugo didn't get the flick, someone behind him did, because it looped up and McAllister nodded it in. But it was a perfect start. And we played well up until then. I think they had the first shot on goal, which was comfortable enough for Alisson. But
yeah, right around 8 minutes.
Yeah, but we were moving the ball. We were starting to move the ball pretty quick. Endo come on at this stage. The surprise to everyone was that Endo went slotted straight in at right back. And we didn't see Szoboszlai drift back into right back and Endo into midfield. So he laid his cards out on the table, said, look, we are going to dominate the ball. They do take risks coming out from the back. And we worked that corner really well. And from then on, it was always a case of mind the back door. They will take risks. They will give you chances. But if they get through your press, they've got quick players and they've got proven goal scorers. I sent you stat earlier on before the game kicked off. Qarabag averaged 2.5 goals per game in the Champions League phase, including the qualifying phase this season.
Yeah.
And they averaged 1.89 in the group phase alone. So this is a side who regularly score against everyone they've played against.
I think I countered that stat to you, is that we only scored 3 times in 7 games across the entire campaign this year. So I was a little bit nervous when you threw that in.
Yeah, and I was, because when I read it and I thought, hang on, they've played Napoli, they've played Chelsea. I know it was Chelsea's reserves, but they've played some good sides, some big clubs, and they're scoring a goal, 2 goals every game. Sometimes they scored 3 in their last game. So, and you're putting that in. It's like, we've only scored 3 goals 3 times this season across all comps.
7 times this season, but we haven't won them all. We've just
exactly, yeah, that's what I mean. So it's like, it's one of them. We're going to have to be really on it, and we're going to have to be really mindful. So going 1 up, everyone is sat there like, well, that's not enough. We know it's not enough. Look at us this season. We're going to need 2 and 3 and whatever. But it was a great start. It was a really good start to the game. Really happy with it.
I mean, to be fair, Kev, I waited till it was 5. That was it. It's nice to see a comfortable win. And even at 5 now, I thought I might be tempting this.
That was the point where I said, let's throw the kids at 5-0. I didn't want to tempt fate. But yeah, Chris,
I was bricking it at 2-0.
There's more set pieces to talk about, so we'll just move directly on to the next goal, which happened 6 minutes later. And that was Florian Wirtz, where he carries the ball, has time on the ball, and really gets a wonderful shot off. But it was all created from Robertson, who then passed to Ekitike, who then passed into Wirtz. And that's the 5th time that Ekitike and Wirtz have assisted each other. So we talk about that partnership really blossoming into something really fruitful. And we saw that again here. And we saw a lot of Florian Wirtz's individual quality. And I think I looked back at his stats, and the last time that Florian Wirtz played Qarabag, he had 1 goal and 3 assists. And today he looked just as on it.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he did the thing that, Ash, I think you and me have both said at times is, I wish he'd just take the shot, rather than that extra touch, just take the shot when it's there. And look, it was got out his feet. As soon as he got near the edge of it, he just passed it into the bottom corner. Keeper, no chance. Nice, simple finish. First Champions League goal. Kind of what we wanted to see from Wirtz, you would say, is, just a few more of those type of goals. Mm-hmm. And then it was pretty relaxed then. I mean, quite frankly, I know he's not everyone's favourite player, but if it wasn't bad luck, Cody Gakpo would have no luck. Because
he had quite a few.
He had quite a few chances.
Saved.
To be fair, there were quite a few were good saves from the keeper. Where honestly, I think some of it miskicked and they'd go in.
I mean, there were like 2 fingertip saves. One went off a player's ankle while they were diving. One hit the wall. Like, it was pretty much every single thing that you could do but score.
The one that hit the wall only just went over. You're like, it's just look, he had one of those games that just didn't fall for him. I thought his general play actually was better. Now again, granted, I know we'll say it's only Qarabag. I appreciate that, but credit where credit's due. He plays well. He wasn't doing the cut inside every 2 minutes. He was trying to do passes outside. He did try and beat a man on his outside. So he was a bit more better involved. I thought Salah had a much better second half. Again, Salah, I'll be honest, on another day he has a hat-trick of assists. Because he puts in some crosses that are absolute peaches, and I'll be honest, he's probably kicking some of his teammates, going, "What the hell?" Do you know what I mean? I can't put any more of a plate for you than that, So, look, there's more positives than negatives. And listen, you've just got to take, hopefully, that joy and that good performance. And to be honest, playing in second gear into Newcastle at the weekend. Newcastle have got a really good draw away to PSG. That's a fantastic.
That was a hard fought draw.
That's a fantastic result, and by all accounts, we're lucky not to nick it at the end.
Mm-hmm.
The hope as a Liverpool fan is that's been a hard fought 1-1 away at PSG. Really difficult. Hopefully, that takes a little bit out of their legs.
We saw it do that to us, kind of in that reverse. When we played them in the cup.
I mean, Slot should talk about that a bit more because he doesn't tend to mention it.
PSG, I've never heard of them.
No, he never mentions the impact of that on his squad. But apparently, lose them is a good thing. But we'll come to that later.
We'll
rant about that later.
I think that's a good thing for our rant show, is just kind of maybe talking about some of the factual inaccuracies, I guess is what I'll use.
But the hope is, as a Liverpool fan, is that's took a lot out of Newcastle legs.
Yes.
Whereas, to be fair to Liverpool players, while the squad is thin, Liverpool won that in second gear, which is good because we haven't done that for a while against the minnow. Normally we've made it. To us, the Barnsley game was tougher than that.
It was, and I do wonder, Kev, if the Barnsley game is the reason he went so strong here. Because we did find that very difficult. We found Barnsley quite difficult to break down, I'd say, just given where they sit in the table. I think they did a much better job in terms of setting up to frustrate us, and they definitely were in a much lower block than Qarabag were. But there's not really much else to talk about in the first half.
In fairness, should Qarabag have had a penalty?
Oh, you mean the one with Gravenberch?
Yeah, 27 minutes. The thing is, for me, it's clumsy.
I thought that's what I wrote down too, was clumsy tackle.
You're giving the referee a chance to make a decision, and it was rash and over aggressive. The Qarabag player made himself big by taking the hit. He went looking for it. He put his foot across, but he's entitled to do that to protect the ball. He's entitled to put his body across and protect the ball coming into him. And then Gravenberch goes through the back of him. In fairness, if that's given, I'm not arguing.
Because I remember when that popped up. And I think
that's very 50-50.
I think that's one of the ones where if the referee gives it, it stands. If the referee doesn't give it, it also stands. I thought that Gravenberch was a little bit overzealous in the tackle itself.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those. I'd like to look at it again before speaking on it with any sort of certainty, because
some in the chat here say it definitely went through him. Dermot is saying it was 100% a pen.
Okay.
For me, it's just the way the forward exaggerates his movement to put his right leg across the ball, over the ball, past the ball.
Similar to what we were looking for Wirtz and Trossard.
He was inviting the tackle. But then when the tackle came, he folded like a deck of cards. So it's one of those that Luis Suarez made a living on those penalties. So it's one of them, like, if that was a Liverpool player, you're screaming for it.
Chris looks like he has no idea what we're talking about.
I think I've had a Mandela moment where someone's wiped me memory, because I'm generally going like, what penalty we talking? You're describing it
right,
like
right around 25 minutes ish.
Right,
I have absolutely no memory of this. Clearly, it happened. I'll have to go watch the highlights back, or wait for it on Ref Watch.
I'll definitely include it in Ref Watch, because it's worth looking at again, and I don't want to just look at things that go against Liverpool. I want to see things that also go for Liverpool.
Please send it me. This is not me trying to bottle out with it. I generally have absolutely no memory of that whatsoever.
Okay.
So,
I mean, for the rest of the half,
me and you forget goals sometimes.
Oh yeah, big time. I came on earlier and I just said, look, I can't remember Wirtz's goal. Don't ask me about it. And
that's why I'm the one that takes all the notes, guys.
Yeah, and I remembered then Hugo did the donkey work to lay it off for Wirtz to finish, and I was like, I remember that. But I got a brain. I'm not Gav. I'm not Rain Man.
No one quite is. No. I mean, he really just puts us all to shame. He could tell us what color socks someone was wearing 10 years ago. And I'm not joking. You genuinely could.
I know.
And I mean that in like a kind of admiration way, not
Yeah.
in like a patronizing way.
No, I mean, if you're going and doing an LSC quiz, you want him on your team.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, no, he's your first pick.
You could just go to the bar and just plow him with drink and you'll be fine.
Yeah, no, he's your first pick. If you need someone to work on like kits and jerseys, Shawnee's your man. But yeah, no, we have quite a few people on our team that really know their shit.
Yeah.
I'm not bad with squad numbers seems to be my one. I'm not too bad with squad numbers.
And sponsors. But for the rest
sponsors,
of the half,
I'm brilliant at them.
For the rest of the
we
half,
digress.
We were knocking on the door for the rest of the half. And it was a case of, we were creating chances. We were doing well. I thought we were doing really well from set pieces. We were taking them short. All of them in the first half are all in swingers. And they were either targeting the keeper, targeting the near post, going short, or you had one that went long. So if you're a defending side, you can't set for anything. Because
well, you know what?
Could happen.
It's interesting though, because it was consistency, which we haven't really seen from a Liverpool delivery on a set piece. We always had either Szoboszlai or Mo Salah taking them. I think they are our two best takers. Yeah. And the fact that we were trying to hit different areas like the far post, and then immediately switching it to a near post, that's a big change. So credit to Lewis Mahoney, who was our kind of promoted set piece coach from within. He so far so good. And we are a team of people that have given the set piece coaches quite a lot of shit. So far so good. There was one Ekitike shot that was just wide of the post right around 41 minutes. There was a ricochet off of defender's ankle there. There were a couple of corners, like you said, where the keeper just palmed it down. There was one where Gakpo tried a volley and that hit the keeper's ankle. And that really just kind of extended throughout that first half. There were loads of chances. We could have had 3 or 4 easily. But halftime came around. There were no changes for either team. And then we had, where was it? At 49 minutes, our next goal. And basically what we saw was a reverse of the weekend's set piece at Bournemouth, where you had Szoboszlai and Mo Salah on the ball. Instead of Szoboszlai getting the free kick, you had Mo Salah getting the free kick at the end after that little kind of roll under. And the fact that blew my mind, and I'm going to have to fact check this because this was said by my commentators, was that was Mo Salah's first goal from a direct free kick in Liverpool.
Well, he's not. It's
not a direct free kick.
No, it's
well, they did qualify it in terms of him receiving it as like a second touch.
Yeah.
But they said that from a direct free kick situation, that was his first goal.
He's never scored a free kick for Liverpool. I know that.
No.
But to be honest, I've not seen Mo bend a shot like that for ages.
It was very shades of the Chelsea game. It's that goal that they always put up for Mo Salah.
It's a cracking finish. I thought Mo actually had a decent second half. He was a bit okay first half, but I thought second half actually he was a bit more involved and looked better in general. But look, it was good for him to get a goal. I think was that 251. I think
251. Yep. It's his first goal in 9 games for Liverpool. So granted, he did score several away at AFCON, but for us, that's his first goal in 9.
Yeah, 1st November was the last time he scored, which was,
Jeez.
And that was it. To be honest, that was the biggest gift ever. That was the Martinez kicking it straight to go, have an open goal, lad. So listen, it's what we've been saying for a while though. When you're playing these bang average sides, take advantage of your set pieces. Corner, free kick, game's done. And it opened up.
Clever free kicks. Draft. They put the draft excluder there, but there was the one that Szoboszlai scored over at Marseille that was clever. You had these 2 ones that they're shifting the ball, and for them to go in reverse was clever. So I like the variety.
For all the mocking we do of Arsenal, and look, it's some of it's warranted, but
a little bit of it is jealousy.
A little bit of jealousy. Do you know, if we were like half as good at free kicks and corners as they are, we'd be higher up the table. Because a lot of our games,
that we are the best set piece team in the Champions League. Which
I mean the Premier League more than the Champions League. But what I mean is, if we were, we wouldn't be going into a lot of games, a la Bournemouth at the weekend, where it's still in the balance with 5 minutes to go. Palace, where it's still in the balance with 5 minutes to go. If you got a bit better at set pieces, you could probably kill the game, be 3-1 up with 10 to go, and quite frankly, you're pretty much safe because you're unlikely to concede 2. So, I'm not saying it should be your sole attacking threat, which is probably the criticism, Markle, is they're probably too far the other way of going for it. But I do think it's definitely what Liverpool should be learning from. So listen, credit was due. Set pieces were good tonight.
Yeah, improvement. It doesn't take too long.
Called the ball roll, by the way.
You did, absolutely. He called it well before the shot went in. So
it's just one of those where it was so close you had to shift it.
Well, it was interesting because they were so adamant about getting that Qarabag second wall to step back. It's almost like they knew what they were going to do. And it was really important that they weren't standing there.
Exactly. And Salah proved as well, you don't have to hit the back of it. From that distance, get it on target. That's all you have to do.
Just like you take it a corner.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. Get it on target.
Edge of the box, just treat it like it's a corner, and that'll be enough.
Yeah.
Well, those two players are, both technically gifted, and I think, those kind of little roles can quite quickly, look really dumb if the player puts a little bit too much momentum behind the ball. So the fact that both of those players can do it for one another, I think is it's just great. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
There was a shot from Gakpo at 55 minutes. Again, fingertips. But on 56 minutes, Ekitike, really all of his own work, very reminiscent of the Frankfurt goal, which was the last time he scored in the Champions League. He picks up the ball after a very brief Qarabag attack, which was broken up by Virgil van Dijk. And then really it was Ekitike's touch and pace and coolness to, pardon the pun, slot the ball past the keeper. Really all his own work. And just kind of that to me is the Ekitike goal, Kev. That right now, that is the Ekitike goal in my head. That is his signature.
That was the best goal I've seen him. That was better than the Frankfurt goal because he made that. He gambled and getting his foot up high to get the touch in the first place. You see a lot of defenders trying to attack, make sure they get contact to go down. And the second one, his pace got there ahead of the centre back, flicked it around him, and then the composure to finish. I think he needed the composure more in that one. He went straight through the keeper's legs, and it was an outstanding goal. I think that might be his best goal he scored for us. I love those goals. He's so raw, and he's just going to get better. The more confident he gets, and in this competition, he's going to get space to run in behind. That's the difference. Qarabag didn't change the way they play, unlike a Barnsley or a Bournemouth or anyone that we will play who's an English club. They didn't. And most sides, when it comes to the knockout stages, aren't going to change how they play against us. Bear in mind, Qarabag rested that 11 at the weekend.
Yep, that's a good point.
So they were fresh. And we took advantage of their naivety. I thought our press was good. And when you give someone like Hugo space to run into, space to occupy, he's more than happy to occupy it. The amount of times that he was making runs in behind and the ball was cut out at the last second. I thought the guy, I can't remember his name, their guy who played left centre-back, he was so aggressive in his interceptions. He was really, really good. But on another night, he doesn't get those interceptions right, or we get the pass right, and Hugo runs riot.
Yeah,
I thought
there's a few players that could have run riot today.
Yeah,
to be completely honest,
I genuinely think I thought he was excellent today.
Yeah, he looked back to his best, I think, and it was
Torres-esque.
Yeah,
that's a sort of finish and run that Torres was renowned for.
Yeah,
so and that's the big compliment you're giving. The one thing I will say is when he's put through 1-on-1 with the keeper in those situations, he is ice cold.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, especially, and I don't want to harp on Darwin Núñez, but after years of watching Darwin Núñez have opportunities like that and not really have the composure that Ekitike has is really what is endearing him to me, at least.
when he's clean through, you're shocked if he doesn't score. Look, there have been moments when he hasn't scored when he's clean through, but it feels like a shock.
wow.
That wow, there's been a few times where Salah's been put through, and and does his bend finish that he does, and a couple of them this season have gone wide. And you went, oh wow, he doesn't normally do that. You just always feel confident when he's through and goal. He's got that ice coolness. I think Isak will have that as well when he's fit again.
That was him, Medina. That was good.
Yeah, Medina, who tried to do his best Szoboszlai impression in the second half.
Yeah.
Can I back heel this? A la Szoboszlai. Honestly, it was so funny. And Gakpo was furious. Got the one time the keeper fucking saved it again. He was like,
yes.
I know. I mean, he really it was really through no fault of his own that he didn't score today. It really was just a series of very good saves, or little fingertips or toenails or whatever it was. It just wasn't his day. But let's move on because there's more goals to talk about. Yeah. So 3 minutes later, we had a counter. There was a corner, and nothing really came of the corner. But after, it must have been the third or fourth phase of play there. We had a cross that was going in, and I don't know who played the ball because I was writing so darn fast. But eventually, there's a ball that is attempted to be cleared by Mateo Silva. On their team, and that ball basically does not go in the direction that he wants it to go in. McAllister is standing in a very opportune position right in front of the goal, and he takes full advantage of that really kind of gift that we got, which we don't normally get gifts, so it's nice to get gifts. And he scores again, his second goal, and you had a wonderful little moment there where it was basically a Brazilian player assisting an Argentinian player, which you don't often see. But yeah, a second goal for McAllister. I'm a little bit sad he didn't get that hat trick because that would have been his first hat trick, and God, did he have a good chance to score it later on. But Chris, what was your reaction to this goal on the 59th minute from McAllister?
Yeah, I think it's Szoboszlai plays a ball. I think he's aiming it for Ekitike.
Okay, thank you. I was missing who it was, and I figured one of you would fill me in.
But again, it's something we haven't seen enough of this year. Midfielders running from deep, just in case.
Anticipating.
Whereas defensively, we always assume the best, which has caught us out fucking loads. We're so pessimistic up front, as in no one takes the risk of, well, if Hugo misses it, it might just fall from the air. And look, that's all it takes. Frank Lampard was the best at doing that. He's one of the best at making late runs, getting into that right area. Gerrard, less so because his was more about distance of passing, but some of the best players just take the risk every now and again, especially with game situation was. So I was really pleased for McAllister. Again, I thought he had a really good game tonight. Yep. Dribble on the keeper, nice finish, happy days, and basically that signal then.
Rafter changes,
game's won. Let's start. So Wirtz got a protection, Ekitike got a protection, Szoboszlai got a protection, and there's one more who got took off. I can't remember who the other one was.
Yeah, so there were two substitution windows there. So one was at 66 minutes. So Wirtz went off and Ekitike went off, and then Rio came on and Nioni came on. And then there was kind of a little pattern of play where Mateo Silva gave away a free kick, and then Yankovic got a yellow card. And then we had that second window of substitutions where Gakpo and Szoboszlai go off. Nalo and Chiesa come on. I think that's Chiesa's third Champions League appearance. But yeah, 73 minutes. It was nice to see him come on and get more than just 2 minutes here and there. Yeah. And same thing with Rio. And we talked about this at the beginning of the show. Having Nalo on the bench, this was his first kind of call up. He was called up kind of after the Gomez injury. We all know what happened the last time he played in European competition. He missed a ball and got a ball and ended up with a red card. And then the second time that he played for the Liverpool team, he also got a red card. So basically anything not a red card was considered a win here. So the bar was pretty low, and credit where credit is due, he did not get a red card, which is fantastic. 75 minutes came around, and Chiesa had a fantastic first touch of the ball, which was nearly a goal there. But yeah, they kind of settled there. They kind of settled for a little period of time, and I think that was just to allow the players to settle in, especially because they were new and try to get a feel for things. It would be an unfamiliar team setup for a lot of these kids. I thought Rio looked really lively. He was set up by McAllister on 84 minutes. He had a great double shot that was blocked. And I thought it was really nice to see the senior players kind of looping them in and really trying to. It was actually, it was Gakpo that they were trying to set up in the first part of the game, and Rio looked like the one they were trying to set up in the second part of the game.
I like Neona's performance.
Yeah,
he looks very composed.
He does. He's definitely been doing training with Gravenberch. He's got that body swerve that Gravenberch has.
A little bit Thiago-esque as well.
Yeah, you can tell he's been working with Gravenberch. He just moves the ball like Gravenberch, the body movement. So again, it was good to see. I mean, that's his Champions League debut. So, but it's good to see him get a Champions League debut, which is not a token 2 minutes. There you go. You've had your Champions League debut. It was a good 20 minutes. Get involved, and look, he was heavily involved. With all the 1-2s and covering the ground that he wanted to do. Gravenberch was giving him lots of touches, so it was nice to see because the talent's there. He just needs minutes.
Well, I think that the club has decided against sending him out on loan. Same goes for McConnell. I think he's going to be sticking around as well. There is interest in Neoni from multiple clubs, but it looks like they are going to keep him around. So, perhaps we will see a little bit more of him. I want to touch on one moment that was not a goal, but it was the chance that McAllister had nearly for that hat trick, Kev. And it was peak Mo Salah doing peak Mo Salah things. It was a beautiful cross. And, it was right over their back line. McAllister made a late run. Again, as Chris pointed out, that late run from deep, which really caught them out. The ball landed at his feet, and he just couldn't get him sorted. He just couldn't get him sorted.
He couldn't get his feet in the right position to get. He was unlucky, I'd say, more than anything. But the cross was brilliant.
Yes.
And Salah tried that cross a few times. More often than not, he was looking for Gakpo, but he did it for Hugo as well a couple of times, but it was mainly overhead. That one, he took it in his stride and crossed it. Almost impossible to time yourself off of it as a defender.
Yeah,
I thought it was a phenomenal cross. The cross deserved the goal.
It did.
The cross deserved the goal. And if you wanted it to fall to anyone, you wanted it to fall to Maka because he scored goals like that for fun.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him scoring those goals for Brighton. You see him scoring those goals for Argentina. You see him scoring those goals for Liverpool. He was just unfortunate he couldn't get his right foot on the volley for it. And I think any kind of contact goes in. As long as it's not straight at the keeper, anything a couple of feet either side of the keeper, that's a hat trick. And it would have been deserved. I thought he was really good on the night.
I thought he was excellent.
It was unfortunate for Mo with that one because I think he, like I said, that cross deserved the finish.
Yeah. Well, 2 minutes later, we didn't have to kind of stew on that miss too long. Chris, Virgil van Dijk, of all people, is in the box at the end of the game, and he passes to Chiesa, who gets his first goal in over 3 years in the Champions League, which I was so happy for him. I really was. It was started with Neoni, actually. Deep in midfield, he passed to Salah. Salah then saw Virgil van Dijk in the box, and then he laid it off to Chiesa. There was a very, very quick check for offside, which he looked offside on first glance. But as I was kind of talking to you guys, the Champions League don't have the 5 centimeter tolerance that the Premier League do. So that was well onside. He timed his run, and credit where credit is due. Like he is a poacher in front of the net. He just doesn't really get a chance to do it very often, Chris. But he put the shine on this.
He always works the keeper when he's given more than.
It was very composed.
When he's given more than 3 minutes, he tends to create. he tends to create a chance and tends to work the keeper. And also, we discovered with Sky, the image that the telly shows isn't always the image that
valid.
the VAR used, because they're generally sent 4 or 5 images, and they choose the frames then picked for the most accurate. So just because the TV showed it, he looks like that could be before the ball's been kicked or after the goal's been kicked. So listen, I was pleased for him because look, he deserves a goal. I was happy he got a goal. His performance, he came on like an experienced pro. Did the job as a number 9, worked them. All you need him to do, really. Hopefully, he might say to the manager, you know if we do need a goal against Newcastle, perhaps give Chiesa more than 3 minutes, perhaps give him the last 15, let him get involved in the game at least, because he tends to do quite well. If he does that, just a bit of breaking news from Lewis Steele on injury front. He's saying Slot is hoping to have Joe Gomez back for Saturday, but it might be tight. Also hoping to have Canate back for the weekend, and Curtis Jones will depend on how his sickness evolves.
That sounds ominous.
Weird choice of words, how your sickness evolves. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he continues on Jeremy Frimpong. It's obvious when he goes down like that we do not expect him to play against Newcastle on Saturday. And look, we'll get to the quotes in our post-match show, which is a nice little segue for me to remind you that there's a link right there for our Patreon show, where we will basically have an entire additional hour of post-match content. We'll talk about Frimpong. We'll talk about the repercussions of that injury. We'll talk about Slot and where he might stand with the club. There was some very interesting quotes that came up from Ornstein today, as well as James Pearce. So we'll touch on that. So that's all coming in
some interesting post-match as well.
Yeah, there'll be interesting post-match as well, and we'll do our man of the match over there. But let's just do a little bit of fun facts here. So that's 11 wins and 14 Champions League games overall for Liverpool. So our last 14 games would go back until last year rather. But I mean, just looking at the table, looking at our performances in this league, Kev, what can we take from this beyond the fact that obviously the English league is currently a level above some of the other European competitions? But what can we take from this maybe as a club? What can Slot take from this? Like, is this something that might save his job, for example?
Well, it goes back to the saying, it's never as good as you think it is, or is never as bad as you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Europe, we are good. We are a good side. And when you give this side space to play in, we can play. We can create chances and score goals. And defensively, we've shown in Europe, 1v1 defending, when it's not against a very physical side, our 1v1 defending is pretty good. I thought Endo tonight, especially. I mean, given the fact that was the last time you seen Endo playing at right back, he was at 6s and 7s. Tonight, their main threat came down that left-hand side. Salah didn't track back all the way. Their left back kept bombing on, and they created a lot of 2v1 situations against Endo. And I thought overall, he managed it pretty well. When they were, because that's their main threat, to get goals. If you watch their games throughout the Champions League, their main threat is to get down the sides and put crosses and cutbacks. And I thought we dealt with all of that pretty well. We're a good side. We need a bit of luck to try to keep players fit. We're going to need to get some of these injured players back. We're going to need Isak back by the end of the season if we're going to go really deep. But like I said, if the draw is kind to us and we get a bit of luck along the way, we can go deep in this competition. But,
well, let me talk you through the rough draw. So we don't know our exact opponent, obviously, but the way that it stands, and I'll just go from top to bottom. The way that it stands, it looks like either Barcelona or Chelsea will be facing the winner of Monaco or Qarabag, or PSG versus Newcastle. Liverpool or Spurs will face either the winner of Bruges versus Galatasaray, or the winner against Juventus versus Atletico Madrid. So those are our opponents.
Not easy games, but you'd rather have the Bruges.
I'd rather have.
There's worse draws that you could have. So Sporting or Manchester City, for example, will face the winner of Bodo Glimt or Benfica, or the winner of Real Madrid and Inter. So you could have you could have a repeat.
No, I wouldn't mind that one either, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't really love.
It's I'm done. Madrid,
well, we can't actually. Interestingly, I don't think we can face Real Madrid again, just based on the number of times that we faced them. Or maybe not. Maybe not in the knockouts, but at least not next year. I don't think we can. And then finally,
that rule,
finally, Arsenal or Bayern will face the winner of Dortmund versus Olympiacos or Atalanta versus Leverkusen. So unlike us when we came in first, you know, and we got PSG, it looks like they'll probably get a little bit more of a kind draw. And again, we don't know what side of the draw we're going to be on. We don't know if we're going to be on the same side as, for example, City and Arsenal, or the same side as Bayern and Sporting. All of that is to be determined.
The longer we stay away from English sides, the better.
Yeah, well, at the moment, it looks like we won't be playing an English side at least until whatever the round is after the knockouts.
Last 8.
Yeah, so at least until the last 8, we will be avoiding English teams. And that's largely down to their dominance. I mean, the fact that Spurs is 4th is wild. It's absolutely wild to me, Chris. And, you know, it does speak to just the discrepancy between the leagues. And, you know, I do think Spurs got an incredibly kind draw. If I remember correctly, I believe it looked a lot more like a Europa League draw. But still, you know, Thomas Frank, much like Slot.
You could have beat us in front of you, and ultimately Spurs have took their opportunity. And listen, Spurs of the years haven't normally taken those sort of opportunities. So listen, credit to you. I've just seen breaking news. Virgil van Dijk has made history. He's the first centre-back ever with a Champions League hat-trick of assists. Apparently it's never been done before by a centre-back. There you go. Niche quote.
You want an extra niche fact?
Go on.
Okay, Nalo has improved his red card ratio to just one red card every 10.3 minutes of playing time.
God
bless him. Yeah.
God bless him. Listen, I'll be honest.
Improving.
I was proper made up. Look, that he came on, no red card. To be honest, no mistake at all.
I just seen it. I just seen the Benfica.
It's worth. Let's finish on that. It's worth finishing on that because this was their Allison moment.
Oh, it's such a good
So
goal.
Benfica and Real Madrid, for those of you that have been living under a rock, were facing head to head. Real Madrid had gone down to 9 players at this point, and Benfica were playing specifically for their inclusion because they were knocked out at that point. Marseille was in the last 25 and Benfica were out of it. And so pretty much last kick of the game, they go in with a free kick. The keeper goes up, and much like the Allison moment, the keeper gets the header that gives them the lead 4-2, ultimately sending them through to the knockouts and knocking Marseille out on goal difference. If you haven't seen it, you need to go.
What's a header?
It is just as good as Allison's header.
Yeah,
it really is.
Marseille were going through and goals scored because they had the exact same goal difference.
Yeah.
It was goals scored what Marseille were going through, and they got beat 3-0.
The irony is, right, and you know what Madrid are like. They'll have tried to kill the game. It was at 7 minutes and 42 seconds in injury time, where there was only 5 minutes of injury time given.
Yeah,
because they had
they also had 2 red cards in injury time, so that was their own damn fault.
Couldn't have happened
both
to
red cards
a bunch of bricks.
And both red cards were petulance. Pure petulance.
Right. On that, let's get out of here.
We're gonna cut out here. I just wanted to finish on that happy note because you gotta love football, and that is a moment that everyone across the board, except maybe Trent Alexander-Arnold and the Real Madrid crew, will remember. There are moments that really kind of transcend every club, and so it's worth talking about. But for us, that's it here on YouTube. As always, we like to keep our YouTube show free here, but we also like to add a little bit more onto Patreon. So come on over. We're going to give ourselves about 5 minutes to just take a reset, and then we're going to go onto Patreon. We'll talk about all of Slot's post-match quotes because Madge says he sounds like he's been on the gin, which is a great cliffhanger. So if you're
Madge
interested,
is the expert on the situation,
and Madge is the expert on that. So if you're interested in hearing about Slot on the gin, or sounding like he's on the gin, then come join us on Patreon. We're going to be over there in 5 minutes. For now, thank you so much for joining us. Reds actually get a comfortable win in Europe and just mosey on through until the next round, and no 2 extra games for us. All right. We will see you later. We will be back later. We'll be back tomorrow, I believe, with a preview show for our next game against Newcastle. So keep an eye out there. Turn your notifications on. Click the thumbs up if you choose to. And we'll see you guys later. Kev, take us out of here.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.